The Evolution MX Works Orders module allows for the logging and tracking of service jobs for engineers, whether those be of a reactive or a planned nature, and also the scheduling of those to a mobile device that the engineer can have access to. Let's start by logging a new works order. Going into works order entry will allow you to add a new works order to the system or deal with an existing works order. Those shown in red would be those that have gone past their overdue date. The green ones would those be that are still yet to be serviced, but are within the terms. So I'll just add a new job, specifying the location or the premises that I want to attend. This can be linked to a database of your choice and imported so that all the premises be kept up to date. And premises can be set with appropriate notes that could be relevant for the engineer to know how to access a property, for example. Record also on the works order things like customer order number, the type of order this is, we'll say it's a reactive job, and also the stage that we want it to observe. Now, stages are configurable to suit the particular agreement that we've got in place. So these can be as many different stages as you wish, reflecting the different stages that a job needs to sit at, and also interact with the mobile devices. Record maybe also the time that the job has been logged and also any expected completion times. Engineering notes could be added that will be visible to the engineer once they pick the job up. If we add that job, that becomes works order number 19. Okay, that'll show on our list of jobs waiting to be allocated to engineers. Access then the scheduler tool. This will show you down the left-hand side a list of all of the jobs that are available for scheduling. The information for each job is controlled by you, so you can have a field selection to say which bits of information are relevant to be shown or not, as the case may be. On the right-hand side of the screen, you'll have columns for each of the different engineers. I've chosen here to have a weekly view, going Monday to Friday. That can be altered should you wish to. The engineers are being shown, and also any existing commitments with different color codes that reflect the different stages that jobs can sit at. So if I want to allocate a job to an engineer, I'll just drag it from the left-hand column over onto an appropriate date and time for that particular engineer. Okay, if it needs to be a longer or shorter time, then you have the option of being able to stretch or contract the timings. It's also coloured it grey now to say that that job has been serviced or been sent to the engineer, ready for them to pick it up. If I were to go to the mobile interface, the engineer will log on to this. This could be on an iPad or an Android device, typically of a tablet size, showing them, in this case, the job section. The other sections could reflect things like a start of day routine where you need to check the vehicle quality and condition, for example, and any other things that you need them to do before they start their work. Other aspects on here would include things like the ability to do purchase orders and goods received, which are separate aspects of our mobile app. The job section is where we'll go into and be able to see the job that's just been allocated. So I can call it up as the engineer. Let's move that over to the side a little bit. The information that was put into the job will be then available to the engineer, telling him where to go and who to contact. Any appropriate notes that have been added. Then the actions button can highlight the different stages that the engineer can reflect this job is currently at. So it could be that you want them to be able to say, for example, that they're traveling to that job. The information that the engineer inputs will be synchronized back to the main system, usually on a time basis. I'll just force that through and it'll have a reflect then on the scheduler tool that we're seeing in the background. Yellow now reflects the current status of that job, being that the engineer is traveling. So it's clear to all to see when they're looking at the scheduler what stage different jobs are at. And we're not saying you have to have all these stages or indeed these stages at all. This is configurable to suit the different aspects that you want the engineer to reflect. It could also include the completion of vital site forms. A risk assessment, for example, could be loaded. This would be your formatted form, allowing them to complete to your requirements aspects of the RAMs, allowing for capturing of signature and so forth as well. So that form can be configured to suit your particular requirements. Okay, other forms could be included, other health and safety forms or just a job record. Also the ability to collect photographs using a live camera, or as I've got, a library gallery. When the engineer has finished their work, they can complete the appointment. That will give an instruction back to the main system. And there may also be some other aspects that are required to be completed, such as a tenant signature or customer signature, engineer's signature, and maybe some final notes. It may also be that the engineer is unable to complete the job there and now, so he may need to put a follow-on for it to be still made available to him on his mobile device the following day, for example. Other than that, we can finish the job. That sends the instruction back to the main system, where it can be seen in the works order entry. Job number 19, along with the collection of the various forms. So that could be a completed photograph that I collected, as well as the risk assessment form. The job is available to be made for invoicing at this point. We can edit the job just to see that a feature that could be of use is where you're able to have the system send back the time that the engineer was involved for potential billing. So I'll just stretch the screen a bit so we can see those lines. So that line has been automatically inserted by the system based upon the time that the engineer was active. Okay, it's automatically going to apply a quarter of an hour basis to that for billing. You're able to also add in any other lines that you may wish. These could be for the use of materials, spare parts, plant, or linking to an item which could access a scheduler rates table. Again, that can be imported into the system and used alongside. And so I was going to put other items in there. Could you maybe just put in some spares with an indication of the price. That then builds the content of the works order ready for invoicing. To invoice the job, we can go into reactive invoices, select all of the jobs that are now waiting and ready to be invoiced, able to also see the associated documents with them. If we generate an invoice, that'll then be available for dispatch via email or printing, along with all other invoices. You see the lines that have come through that will be formatting into that invoice. The invoice can then be dispatched, emailed to the client, updating their balance for that works order. That concludes our introduction to the mobile element of the Evolution MX works orders.